Tetea taarifa mchana kutwa, usiku tunaketi kitabu, tunadadavua tukichanganua taarifa na makala muhimu yanayohusu wewe na familia yako. Ungana na Bernard Ngozi kwenye Open Forum Political Show kuanzia saa 4 usiku hadi dakika zake kila siku ya wiki kwenye
Tonight, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot is taking place so fast. Therefore, everybody must work hard to stay on the cutting edge as far as making sense of our politics is concerned, and of course, remaining on top of all matters.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound County Talk Live. At Sound County Talk, we provide live UHD broadcast for church services, talk shows and podcasts, weddings, live bands, products and services launches, webinars and trainings, Zoom meetings, conferences, seminars, exhibitions, and virtual concerts.
And I really appreciate for being with you and having moment discussion, having a day with you. Indeed, it's so great as Bernard started over. For more confirmation or for more details of if you want to support the channel, just use the scrolling details on the screen and it will be great. If you also want to advert with us, use the screen details on the screen and we'll market your product very well, and we also market. And if the first time coming along the channel and you have not clicked the subscription note, please make sure you click the subscription note so that we can be together and we can move together as one. And also there's the link to join inside to be a member of Sound Candy Talk. Please, I still urge you, click the link, join and be a member of Sound Candy Talk. For those who are watching us on TikTok, please, I urge you, go to the YouTube channel, search Sound Candy Talk the same way it is on TikTok. Please subscribe and also join. Be a member of Sound Candy Talk and it will be great. We really love you. We really respect you. And I really ask God bless you because we really appreciate for you being there as Team Sound Candy Talk.
Sound Candy Talk Live News.
The Pharisees couldn't stand him, but they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him, and the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, Yesu yanaga. Unya wewe, hallelujah, Yesu yanaga.
Are you looking for video live streaming services? You want your church services to be on air? You do not know where to market your goods and services? At Sound Candy Talk, we deliver the best live stream services for your events, product and service launches, conferences, weddings, and live. Reach on us today. Sound Candy Talk is timely, accurate, professional, and affordable. You have a complaint or compliment, any question concerning our broadcasting, contact us soundcandytalk@gmail.com. We are on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and X at Sound Candy Talk. Call us on 0718 45 45 85. At Sound Candy Talk, we help your event, trainings, shows, and so more to the world through internet broadcasting in UHD. We provide from one to several camera setups and integrate graphics to live in your live streams. For more information, contact us through +2547 18454585 or email at soundcandytalk@gmail.com. Reach on us today. Tunazunguka kote kote mchana kutwa kukuletea taarifa na matokeo ya habari kutoka pembe zote za ulimwengu. Jioni tunaweka mduara wa kujadili taarifa ziso hizo kwa mapana na marefu. Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki kwenye matukio ya siku saa 2 jioni kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Matukio ya siku, makao makuu ya habari kuu ya siku.
Been to Eldoret, Nakuru, Mombasa, now in the lakeside city of Kisumu, dubbed the cleanest city in the country. We'll find out why. My guests are already with me here. I'll introduce them in just a bit, live from the Rotary Vocational Training Center here in Kisumu. But let's set the stage for this conversation we're having this evening. Kisumu County has stepped up its efforts for sustainability waste management, especially with the populous city. But this includes the establishment of MRFs, what is called the Material Recovery Facilities, and also partnering with private enterprises. One such enterprise is MTACA. Now, that's a venture leveraging on technology to reach as many estates as possible within Kisumu, and also to sensitize the residents on proper waste management. Edward Chwea was here in Kisumu earlier on and filed this report in this week's Made in Kenya segment.
Busy hands sorting waste. This is home to MTACA, a waste management company that leverages technology to sustainably manage waste within Kisumu County.
So MTACA started in 2022 and of course started as an initiative to educate the communities to increase recycling culture. And our approach was leveraging technology so that, of course, back then we understood that recycling was a direct source of livelihood for most waste pickers and waste workers who are often discriminated, and the community did not understand how to quite relate with them.
MTACA is basically a mobile application through which households in Kisumu access waste agents within their area, take their waste to the agents, and get paid for every kilo of waste.
So the way MTACA works is that we have an application that is supposed to connect people right from the household to buyback centers. So we have waste workers who are also waste entrepreneurs that we train as agents. So ideally you give them training on entrepreneurship, you give them gears, you even give them financing, then they're able to set up like a buyback center, like a shop that buys materials in the community. And then the household, they're able to separate their waste at source, take it to the buyback center, and then we then support the agents to aggregate their materials and pick from them.
MTACA then takes the recyclables to a material recovery facility set up by the county government of Kisumu, crush and package them, and send them to recyclers.
So currently we are at a material recovery facility, Maendeleo, which is a wonderful partnership with the government, a public-private partnership. So our technology, it's an end-to-end, ensuring that materials is flowing right from the source at the household level all the way to the large-scale recycler.
Through this, MTACA is now helping sustainably manage waste within Kisumu County adding to the efforts by various stakeholders to clean and green the Lakeside County.
We are now hitting about up to 40 tons a month, and the goal, of course, is to double this and up to 200 tons maybe by next year. So far we've created up to 200 jobs, so 50 direct jobs and 150 indirect jobs.
This is Manyata Material Recovery Facility. This is one of the 7 facilities that the county government of Kisumu has established as part of its plans to properly manage waste. Now, waste collectors bring the collected waste here, sort it, process it before it's sold to manufacturers.
These facilities are run by community groups that we are in partnership with, and they are earning some decent earning out of that, and the county is in the process of also getting a little revenue out of that. But the objective is just to enhance best practice in municipal solid waste management.
The plan going forward is to attract more investment along waste management and work closely with the private sector to keep the county clean.
We are also hoping to invest in additional material recovery stations at sub-county level. So once we get to have them at sub-county level, we'll be certain that we'll sort our problems at that level.
Edward Chwea, Made in Kenya, Citizen TV, Kisumu County.
And that feature by Edward Chwea sets the basis of the conversation we're having this evening. It's all about how to turn trash to cash. My guests are with me here. Let me start by introducing them. From my immediate right, Honorable Judith Oluoch. She's a CCM, Water, Environment, Natural Resources and Climate Change, Kisumu County. Thank you for making time. Seated next to her is Tobias Bele. Tobias Bele is the Communication and Knowledge Management Lead at KCIC, that is Kenya Climate Innovation Center. Thank you for making time. Next to him is Primafasi Mutua. She's a co-founder and COO MTACA. Thank you for making time. And next to her is Alex Kubasu. Alex Kubasu is a program coordinator, Green Economy and Policy at WWF Kenya. Thank you for making time. And last but not least is Leonard Ofula. He's the NEMA County Director of Environment, Kisumu County. Thank you very much for making time. Also with us is Abala Wanga. Honorable Abala Wanga is the City Manager, Kisumu County. And he'll start us off on this conversation. Abala, I'll start with you. What has been the greatest challenge when it comes to waste management in Kisumu, and what is the plan?
Thank you very much, Trevor. First of all, may I take this opportunity to welcome you to the cleanest city in Kenya and second clean city in East Africa. That's the city of Kisumu. Although we have come this far, but there was a time we were at a certain place. Just in a brief summary, Kisumu as a city generates over 400,000 metric tons of waste. So in a month, it's over 12 million metric tons. In a year, it's over 100 million metric tons. This is a huge amount of waste. Kisumu is a city within a county. The whole county, as the CEC will tell you, maybe is over 600,000 metric tons. So the density of the waste is generated from the city. We have gone through a lot of challenges. Waste management in Kisumu is a climate change issue and is a problem because it cuts across all the parameters of waste management. We have floods because under our new geospatial plan, the city has been zoned differently. We have different zones. So we have the eastern extension where we have Nyamasaria, we have Kapwote, Nyalenda, Migosi. All those areas are prone to flood every rainy season. And solid and liquid waste management and organic waste management in a flood area is a disastrous thing. Now, in Kisumu, we managed to decommission the CBD dumping site, which was called Kachok, to Kasese. Now, the challenge we have is when we relocated the dumping site, the transportation of waste from the waste-generated areas in areas of estates and where they are to the dumping sites have been a big challenge. So Kisumu, since now we are the clean city, we are comparing ourselves with Kigali. Kigali with us is under the smart city concept. The smart city concept is the urban resilience to withstand the threshold of the amount of waste and the climate change disasters that are challenging us. One of these ones is very important. We just don't want to create a dump site, but we want to manage the waste.
Okay.
Managing the waste has a lot of parameters in it.
Yeah.
Is it being managed under the circular economy? What is the value added advantage of managing this waste?
Okay.
One, like Ipe, if you go now, there's a Chaka market. An investor has taken up Chaka market to produce electricity. So this guy has signed a power purchase agreement with the Kenya Power and Ministry of Energy. He's going to produce and contribute to the grid an amount of energy. So we just don't need to dump 100 million metric tons in a year, which can produce a lot of electricity. Two, we need fertilizers. I was in Ghana, and I saw the practical sense in it. I was in a young city, they do the same. I've visited 7 cities. So the waste to energy and the waste to fertilizer and the waste to utilization is very important.
Okay.
So next week, Kisumu as the lead city under smart city concept will host a conference where Governor Nyong'o has been inaugurated as the inaugural chairman of Africa Smart City Alliance. Okay. The first summit will be held here in Kisumu from 11th to 13th. And we have given climate change and waste management 2 hours symposium to come and discuss on this aspect. So I'd want to at least let us listen and understand how Kisumu has leapfrogged from the dirty city to the cleanest city currently. Okay. I hope my colleagues will canvas on a lot of parameters of this.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Balawang. And let me now bring in Judith Oluoch, who's the CACM for Environment. You know, Kisumu is considered a benchmark of the cleanest city. But there's still those who question that statement. Is it really the cleanest city? What is the county's long-term plan to ensure there's sustainable waste management? Because not too far from where we are seated here, there's an illegal dumping site, just a few meters from where we're seated.
Thank you, Trevor, and welcome to Kisumu. We are actually happy that you're hearing this from Kisumu. Now, Kisumu is actually the 6th cleanest city in Africa, and you'd say it is second in the Eastern Africa, second to Kigali. Now, if you look at Kisumu, its position, it's strategically located, and it is a commercial hub, and that elevates the position of Kisumu. Now, His Excellency, the governor of this great county of Kisumu, Professor Peter Nyong'o, is in his 2nd term. And he was very clear in this 2nd term. And if you look at his manifesto, solid waste management is actually prioritized. And you realize that as a county, we aspire to be a prosperous county where every citizen lives a decent life, and one that also looks at current and future generations and gives them that kind of hope. So what we are discussing today actually is anchored on that vision. And it is that vision that has enabled Kisumu to be in the map. So as a county, what is our plan? We would like to transform waste. Waste is a burden to an economic product. As a department and as a county, what we want to do is to ensure that we manage waste in a way that is environmentally friendly, economically viable, and socially acceptable. So our principle is very clear. Reduce, reuse, recycle. That is what we are working towards as a county.
All right. We'll come into the how in just a bit, but let me bring in Tobias into this. Tobias, you know, most people I meet anytime we're talking about waste management, the first question they always ask me is, what's in it for me? You've been running a program, SWIFT program, which has focused on demonstrating the business case for waste management. What lessons have you learned so far in regard to the opportunity that is available for the people?
Thank you, Trevor. First of all, let me agree with the CEC and the city manager that Kisumu is a hub of opportunities. I come from Homa Bay, and I know we are a county of endless potential, but Kisumu remains the mother, and it is a hub of so many opportunities. The Sustainable Waste Innovation for a Future in Transition program, the SWIFT that you're referring to, is a program that the Kenya Climate Innovation Center is implementing essentially to transform the waste management sector in the country. And we are doing that through two major intervention areas, which is tailored support to waste entrepreneurs and policy strengthening, because without a robust regulatory framework, you cannot incentivize the kind of public and private participation in the sustainable waste management space. The opportunity we've seen and the demonstration effect that we've been keen on showing is the business case for waste. And if you look at the number of enterprises we've supported, MTACA has been mentioned here. We have Nawascol in Nakuru, turning waste to briquettes. We have Jill Industries in Mombasa. We have Jijenga in Nairobi, turning plastic into concrete.
Yeah.
And what we can see and what we can say authoritatively is that there is a strong business case. And what needs to change fundamentally is the shift in focus of seeing it as waste to seeing it as a resource. It is only waste if it is in the wrong hands, but there is a business case for it. And what we are looking at is how do you make this a reality?
Yeah.
How do you build a business out of it? And that's what we've been doing. And that is the opportunity that we've seen from business modeling on waste management to the technical assistance that these innovators and these entrepreneurs need to have to make this into a business, to the access to finance, which is a major challenge, not just for enterprises in the climate space, but really any business, and to a robust regulatory framework. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And if you look at the number of ventures and the number of enterprises we've worked with at KCIC, it shows, the data shows that that opportunity is there, and we can only get better from there. I know we will be breaking it down further, but just to set the stage on that.
We will get into that in a short while, and I'll request all my panelists to raise their voices a bit more so that the person at the back can hear you properly. But Mutua, you know, you're a living example of what waste opportunities that are there in the waste management sector. MTACA, which Edward Chwea just focused on in our Made in Kenya segment. But what does that success in the venture like yours say about the business opportunity in waste? And with that, what is also the biggest challenge that you face?
Thank you so much, Trevor, for the question. So for us at MTACA, it's really been a journey. When we started this journey of waste management, we got into a passion of, one, dignifying the people who are working in it, ensuring that they have the best prices. Really didn't think of it of a business, but also being very close to the lake. We were like, there was major pollution that was happening. So we got into the sector about 3 years ago and realized that this is actually an opportunity where people are earning livelihood as well as saving the environment. The people who are acting on a daily basis are actually recycling heroes at the forefront of ensuring that our environments are clean. And so for us, the opportunity came in that reports were coming out left, right, center. Last year, I think there was a report from ANDE showing that the waste business is about $53.9 billion. But what was actually trickling down to the communities in Kisumu across the lake region. And so for us, we started with that simple notion of how can we turn this waste sector into a real business? How do we make it accessible for people? And technology was one of the ways we did that. So using technology, a mobile application and an ERP system, we are helping dignify and digitize the waste economy in Kisumu and even the lake region, and seeing the impact that we've had in Kisumu so far with over 1.3 million of kilograms of waste collected. We've even scaled to the Eldoret region to counties like Migori, Homa Bay, and even Kakamega and Vihiga. And we're looking to scale even more with partners and partnership like KCIC, Practical Action, and JZ. And so the challenges are still there, but the happiness and the fulfillment to us is that we are seeing that lives are being impacted. The sector is becoming safe and dignified for people, even women, to join into the sector. And the challenges are still there. Communities are still perceiving waste as a very and as a burden to them, not looking at how people are dignifying it, but also in terms of enforcement, separation of waste source is still a critical challenge. And even if you look at the material that now we need to do recycling with, it's still coming in contaminated. So most of it can't be food grade recyclable, but it's a challenge that you're willing to work with. And even I thank the county government of Kisumu and even the city of Kisumu, because they've really held our hands in terms of ensuring that we continue to scale what we're doing in Kisumu. Thank you.
All right. Let me bring in Alex Kubasu on this. And Alex, I know you said you've been off the media for quite some time, but I feel like it's just the other day you're my colleagues. It's very strange to have you on the panel, but it's good to see you. So usually when we talk about the blue economy and the circular economy, people look at this as two separate issues. Mm-hmm. Are they fundamentally linked? And how can we ensure that there's integrated policies that are needed to ensure that one agenda supports the other directly?
I think the biggest problem has been trying to look at these two issues separately, yet they are just two sides of the same coin, in the sense that for us to have a sustainable blue economy, meaning that we are able to get the value from our waters, we need to give the waters the space to actually thrive. And we cannot do that by pouring in waste, hazardous chemicals, and a lot of the solid waste. So I look at it in three ways. One is that we need to move away from looking or imagining that waste goes away. Waste does not go away. And especially for communities living next to water bodies, and I'll situate this conversation not just for the residents of Kisumu, but for those who are living next to the waters. Yeah. So the tendency usually is that you would want to put away your waste in the water body and imagine it will go away. It doesn't go away. And if we are able to shift our minds and ensure that we do not just continue to demand fresh fish from our lakes, we do not continue to demand that we can go to the beach and enjoy the beautiful sceneries, we need to think about what are we going to do to ensure that the fish continue to thrive. And what do we need to do? Do not dump waste into it. Do not release chemicals into our lakes. Do not do all those bad things. And the key call to action here, especially to the communities living next to water bodies, is that we need to have an aggressive way of protecting our oceans and our lakes, because it's a source of our livelihood. And this calls to mind the village elders. If it is an informal sector next to a lake or next to an ocean, we need to have that clarity on where are you taking your waste, because usually it is because of illegal dumping. So everybody needs to be accountable of the waste that is going and how it is getting out of their way. The second point is around the fact that we need to reframe our blue economy. It has always revolved around extracting, but we need to start thinking about what are we going to give to our waters so that they are able to give back the fresh produce that we all demand. The extractive model of just going there and wanting to build resorts and hotels around it, how can we be able to do it in a different way? For example, how can we do aquaculture that actually reuses water as opposed to aquaculture that continues to pollute the rivers? And finally, we also need to have a mindset around bridging the policy gaps. Because when a structure is approved by a county urban planner next to a lake or an ocean, there needs to be an environmental expert, and I know NEMA is always there, to ensure that does this facility have a closed-loop system to ensure that all that it will generate will not be thrown into the lake so that it goes away. So if we are able to bring an interdepartmental engagement so that as a county, for example, we are looking at both the circular and the blue economy as two sides of the same coin, and we need everybody on the table so that when we approve that hotel, everybody has had input and it will be for the benefit of everyone.
Yeah, so waste doesn't just go away. And I'll come to the audience in just a short while to hear your views and your questions if you have any. But let me bring in Ofula first from NEMA. You know, one of the biggest issues that everybody always talks about when it comes to NEMA is the double licensing. How can we streamline this licensing process for waste companies to ensure that then we adhere to the Sustainable Waste Management Act 2022?
Thank you, Trevor. I'll first of all start by saying that NEMA is a regulatory authority charged with the responsibility of coordinating and supervising issues to do with the environment. And NEMA was able to come up with a Sustainable Solid Waste Management Act of 2022, which came after the National Solid Waste Strategy of 2015. And from that, the key issue was on zero waste at the end. So that's the key issue in this Solid Waste Management Act. Now, one of the issues that we have in the Solid Waste Management Act is to transform the waste sector into a circular economy, an economically viable economy, and also one that will be in a position to assist the waste handlers in coming up with wealth, job creation, and also protection of our environment. And NEMA has been licensing the issue of solid waste management through the chain, the waste chain. And one of the issues that NEMA has done is to try and digitalize the issue of licensing so that it becomes faster for those who are intending to have the licenses for undertaking the issue of waste management. We have these waste transport licenses that we issue. Yeah. And if we digitalize, I'm sure it will be very easy for the waste handlers to come up with the license and take over the activities. It's also important to know that we have principles to do with the improvement of this waste. And one of them is on, as I've said, the circular economy, which is going to improve a lot on that area. And then we have the waste hierarchy, whereby we intend to minimize the issue of waste to zero, if possible. And the last one is on ensuring that this is going to assist us in protecting our environment, because that's the key area that NEMA is really focusing on. So NEMA is working on that, and I'm sure in a few days or months, yeah, everything is going to be running on smoothly when it comes to licensing of our waste licensing area.
Okay. Let me see by a show of hands who has comments or questions from the audience as well that we collect. And where's the microphone? There's a conversation back there. But also, Benson, you could mention something if the microphone is next to you. By a show of hands, let's start with the ladies back there. Just kindly stand, state your name and your question. Go straight into it. No history, just direct. Okay? Then we'll come to you, madam, and yourself as well. Let's take 3 of them at a go. Yes.
Comments?
Yes.
And proposal to NEMA. First of all, my name is Stanley Otieno.
Raise the microphone closer to you. Yes.
I'm born in Kisumu. I've been raised in Kisumu. And Kisumu has seen a tremendous change. I want to give thumb up to Honorable Governor Nyong'o and his team, Mr. Balawanga, for the great things that you are doing to Kisumu. Kisumu is too clean. There's one thing I want to raise to NEMA. There's this issue of diapers. And I would like if you can partner with the companies that produce these diapers. We find that Kisumu is clean, but if you walk along the roads of Kisumu, disposal of diapers is a menace. Even if you go to the lake, even if a river Auji, even disposing them, we find that they are good. They are helping us to manage time and all these things. But disposing them that you go, you find that when it rains,
yeah,
you find that women, most of them, these things are being disposed in these toilets that we use, these pit latrines. Okay. But when it rains, you find that these things, they flood up and flood the cities. Even if you walk, you can walk along the road and you find that somebody just driving a very good car, a Prado. But what comes out of the window of that Prado along the way are these diapers. Okay. So we want to, not only in Kisumu, but all of Kenya, can you partner with these people as much as they're producing this thing and advertising them on the television? Yeah. Let them see how they can also teach the community and the country at large, okay, on how to manage these things as they being disposal, and they should be disposal in a very smart and good way that manages our environment, and this will also stop our drainage from clogging, which means we will make the city use more money in doing so at least it will also reduce the economic.
Thank you, Michael. Michael, that's
so
a direct question to NEMA in terms of EPR, that extended producer responsibility. You'll address that. Let's take two more, and then we have this conversation. The two ladies over here. There was a microphone somewhere here. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Is that mic on? Okay.
Thank you once again. My name is Brenda Koth from Glimas, which is a recycling company based in Obambo, that is Kisumu Town West. We are an MRF, but we currently don't do organic waste because it's situated in a living environment where residents are. But my question goes to NEMA. Is there a way that you can possibly have a forum before increasing your prices? Because last year, as an MRF, we were paying 40,000. This year, you increased it to 85,000. And we were even opting out of recycling, but thanks to KCIC, they're going to pay for us. So kindly work on that, because it's affecting most of the waste recyclers.
Is that the increasing of licensing fees?
Yeah, the increasing of licenses without consulting the shareholders.
Okay, that's another question to NEMA. Let's take two more reactions and then we'll have them answer. Yes, madam, you have the microphone. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you so much. My name is Victoria Duet. I'm a youth within the water sector in Kisumu County. Thank you for your insights this far. My question is to Alex Kubasu. You talked about the blue economy and the circular economy, and you said something very important, that waste does not disappear. And my question is in regard to that, because we are a city located right next to Lake Victoria, and you find that there are gaps in enforcement that make it difficult to protect our water bodies from waste pollution. And we have the waste actors here. How do we bridge this gap? Because Article 43 of the Constitution talks about right to clean and safe water. And if we do not manage our waste well, then we infringe onto that right. So how do we ensure that we bridge this gap whereby the county is able to work with the waste, people within the waste sector, to ensure that all this waste does not end up in our water bodies? Thank you.
Okay, that question from Victoria will be addressed by Alex and yourself as well. How do you work with the people in the sector? Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm Ruth Eli Dotieno. I'm a member of Q1, and I also work for TEAM. I have a question for NEMA. When we talk of waste, I know we have both liquid and solid waste. And in Kisumu, we have quite a number of companies discharging their raw liquid waste into the water bodies. And our hands are tied because we are tiny fish, and you are the giant in the room who can actually take action on that. And on dump sites, how best can you advise Kisumu County to move from dump site to sanitary landfill? Because we know the benefit of a sanitary landfill. And when we talk of a dump sites, when waste are put there, they discharge liquid waste called leachate. And this leachate, there is a process in which it should be treated before it reaches water body. What are you doing about that? And one thing on the infrastructure within the county and city. And this is going to both the city manager. I know he's not among the panelists, but I know we have the CCM, our able lady. How best can you support construction of facility recovery centers? Because these are areas where we can tap on the valuable waste to ensure that we have minimal waste reaching the sanitary landfill or the purported dump sites that we have currently in Kisumu, and also to ensure that maybe NEMA to push for actual implementation of the coded bins, because it is what is going to help us. And this should run from marketplaces, hotels, to the streets of Kisumu, and even to the households, maybe in the people's settlements where we are. Thank you.
Okay. And the city manager is right in front of you, so you can address that really quick, and then I'll come to my panelists to answer, and then we come to you.
Thank you, Trevor. These material recovery centers, theoretically, I don't like them. And if we have to go by it, I know climate change has put a lot of resources on them. They are becoming another dump sites because they need a lot of expertise to use these material recovery centers. Their location and where they are. For example, if you go to Kisumu area, that material recovery center are not doing well in terms of waste isolation. If you go to Otonglo market, the same. Go to Kibuye, it is a mess. They're even keeping pigs there. See. So the best one is coming up in Mamboleo. And when I went to Arusha, Arusha has the best material recovery centers, better than even Rwanda in East Africa. Isolation of waste in the developed world starts from the household. We need to introduce not less than 1 bin, but 3 bins. You know where to put your bottle, you know where to put your plastic, and you know where to dump your organic waste. It starts from there. But this culture in Kisumu Material Recovery Center is going to kill us because now at night, the waste transporters sneak with waste and dump them there. They cause another problem because at night, no one is isolating waste. I saw the one in Accra, Ghana. It was working well until they started recycle the waste there and creating a dump site. So the best thing is always to have dump sites near the waste management center. You weigh the waste, you take them there. But the most important thing, that's why Kisumu is now beyond cleaning the cities and a smart city so that we go by household to isolate the waste. Okay. So if you want to isolate the waste, go to the households.
All right. Thank you. Let me bring in Nema on this. Nema, you had this many questions here. First one was from Michael on how to deal with diapers, which closely relates to the EPR, which is of course a court case currently as we speak, but this is something you can talk about, the general idea around it, which is extended producer responsibility. So let's start with addressing Michael's concern on diapers.
Okay. Thank you very much, Trevor. Yeah, thank you. It is true, diapers is a nuisance and it's giving us a lot of problems, as you have said. But with the Sustainable Solid Waste Management Act, there is a regulation that we have also come up with known as extended producer responsibility. Yeah. Although it is in court, but it is one that can really address that issue because this is whereby the producer will be charged with this responsibility of ensuring that diaper that is in the environment is taken care of and is disposed of appropriately. It is also encouraging to say that there are other organizations right now who are coming up with technologies of recycling the diapers, and they're coming up with manure out of that. So once the issue of court is over, we are going to pursue that so that we bring these people on board so that they can assist. And I'm sure with this EPR, that one is going to be taken care of.
Okay. There was another question from Brenda on how you'd have a forum before increasing the license fees.
Yes. Thank you, Brenda. Yeah, this one, it has been an issue that we have heard of, but I'm leaving it to our Director General because he's handling it. He has gotten views and is going to give us the outcome of their discussion as pertaining to the costs that has been added to this particular licensing.
So is that an admission that there's increasing fees without consultation with the sector players?
Yeah, there was some kind of public participation, but maybe it never reached down here, but they are working on it, and I'm sure it will be taken care of.
Okay. There was a question to Alex from Victoria. It will also be addressed by the CC. Yeah.
Yeah, so indeed, 80% of what ends up in our water bodies is actually from land-based sources. So it's critical that if we are able to stop it from getting to the water bodies, then we'll have dealt with the biggest chunk of the problem. But then in terms of solutions, and that's why I'd proposed briefly that all these frontier communities living next to these water bodies, there needs to be a robust and effective way of ensuring that at least There is knowledge of the fact that if we dump, it does not go away, and it actually comes back to us in the way that we would eventually have less food and less nutrition. So, because the concept is usually warped, we demand good products and produce from the lake, but we continue to do the wrong thing towards the sea. So it is more of a mind shift, so that we can be able to make sure that these communities understand that indeed, if we do sustainable waste management through aggressive zero community models, then we should be able to arrest that. And finally, how the waste actors can work with the county government is both a carrot and a stick. Because of course, in any community, there'll be those who will continue to flaunt the rules and the bylaws of illegal dumping. But the waste service providers or the waste actors, you know, the people who service those areas, you can actually report them to the county authorities, and the county authorities should be able to take action against them. But the county authorities can also provide an incentive. They can provide places where you can actually, if you're a small waste service provider, you do not need to go all the way, because that is usually the trigger for people to illegally dump. So it can provide places where the small waste service providers can take their waste instead of being tempted to actually dump it illegally.
Okay. I'd like to hear your reaction to what Victoria raised. She mentioned the gaps in the enforcement, but also how do you work with the private sector players so that they play a critical role when it comes to waste management in the city?
Thank you. The county government of Kisumu work with several community-led organizations, as well as the waste actors, the waste recyclers, several of them. We work with them. Now, what is important in all this, why there is pollution in the lake, is that we dispose waste in the lake. The responsibility is with each one of us. And this includes the households, the businesses, and all institutions out here. It's important for us to act responsibly. He has just mentioned that those who are in the frontiers need to take responsibility. But the challenge that is there is what happens when the disposal is upstream. Then it gets into the lake. They are helpless when that happens. Enforcement is key, but if we can find a way of managing that waste, the industries that are disposing in the rivers, they are notorious, quite a number are quite notorious for that in this city. If they can find a way of disposing that waste in the right manner, then there will not be a problem. And for us as households, my colleague mentioned the issue of separation. When we separate waste at source, then the waste pickers will be able to take it to our MRFs, the material recovery facilities. They are spread in the county. There are 6 of them. We have one right behind us here, Maendeleo, where Mtaka is. We have in Kondele, for those who know where Kondele is. We have one in Manyata. In the informal settlements, we have in Mamboleo, we have in Otonglo, and they have been constructed by the county government of Kisumu. And this is to encourage recycling. And this has economic sense, because it creates employment opportunities and you will be able to convert waste to value, especially the plastic waste, the paper, quite a number of them, except the organic. It is true that Kisumu organic waste is ranging from 60 to 70%. Yeah. And that has been a challenge. But still, we have quite a number of community groups, private sector players that are actually using that organic waste, converting it to BSF, fertilizers, and using it even for biogas. within Kisumu. Right behind us here in Dunga, it is happening, conversion to biogas. But still, because of the rapid increase in population, because of urbanization, waste still ends in Kasese. And as a county government of Kisumu, we have a plan. We have a plan, and we are already engaging investors, looking for a potential investor who has the capacity, who has the potential to do that.
Okay.
That's where we are heading. But I call upon the young people. We have several groups that are involved in environmental restoration, environmental conservation. Our offices are open. We work with quite a number of them. As you all know, with our new policy, and it has been existing, we have even embedded our cleanup day, which is every 10th of the month. And we bring on board different players, and we call upon them to join us, because this is our city. This is our county.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me bring in Mutua on this. Mutua, it's an interesting conversation. We're talking about the MRFs here. But if there's one specific practical change that you'd like to see at the county level to ensure it unlocks growth for a sector where you are. In fact, the city manager was raising concern that some of those MRFs end up looking like dump sites themselves. What is that specific change that you'd want to change so that sectors like where you are and organizations like the one you have can scale up when it comes to dealing with waste?
Thank you. So I think it boils down back to the act. In my opinion, it's a very nice act that, if implemented and enforced well, really could shift the way Kenya looks at waste management from a linear economy to a circular economy, right? And so issues to do with separation of waste as source. Could it be implemented? Could households be actually mandated to pay for bins so that waste collectors and waste service providers can actually collect segregated waste as source? Issues to do with investment and infrastructure. NEMA, I know, mandates that now even waste to be transported as in the various fraction that it's segregated. Do we have the infrastructure for that? Do we have the trucks that mandates us to take that? So can we get those infrastructure? And even for MRFs, right? The capacity that is currently happening, even in Kisumu and across Kenya, is still very limited. So can we get more investment and working with county governments as our forefront, recognizing the work that we are doing, ensuring that we get the spotlights, ensuring that they get the data in terms of how much is actually being collected and what are the targets in terms of collection, so that we get more inflow in investments and infrastructure to ensure that we are collecting and recovering more, but also recognizing the work that we are playing in the sector. Thank you. Okay,
let me bring in Tobias on this. Tobias, you and I have run this town hall series in almost all these cities, especially talking about waste management. And one of the things we've been pushing for is material recovery facilities, MRFs. But you can hear there's concern that sometimes if they're not well managed, they themselves turn into dump sites. What makes Kisumu's story particularly important in your perspective, having facilitated all these town halls across?
Well, Kisumu is particularly significant and important because I believe it was one of the very first counties to have established an MRF among all these counties. That is a requirement in the Sustainable Waste Management Act. It was one of the very first counties. So in as much as it's still a work in progress, there's a lot to learn on what has worked here and what has not worked here. But at the same time, it goes fundamentally to the question of what is the biggest challenge in terms of shifting from a linear to a circular economy, which is a big challenge. Alex has said here that waste does not go away.
Yeah.
And she has said that it should be a collective responsibility for all of us. And it boils down to fundamentally our behavior as people, not just as producers, but as consumers as well. Fundamentally, we need to redefine our social contract from viewing ourselves as consumers to viewing ourselves as stewards. The biggest challenge in the shift from linear to circular, in my opinion, is not just about technology, it's not just about policy, but also the general human inertia when it comes to behavior. And behavior change is not something that can be realized overnight. We can put in place all these facilities, all this infrastructure, but if at the core, we still think of ourselves just as consumers, single use, and then you dump, that has to fundamentally shift from a consumer perspective to a resource perspective, to a steward perspective, from seeing it as waste to seeing it as a resource, from just thinking of what is most convenient for me as a person, to making a conscious decision about what I need to do with what I consider waste. And that's why this radical shift has to happen at all levels of society. And I know we are talking about EPR regulations, and be that, despite the fact that it's a very good piece of legislation, the general perception in the public has been that, oh, now the responsibility has been shifted to producers. Yeah. It is now no longer our responsibility because it's on the polluter pay principle. But at the core, we all have to see ourselves as actors and stewards. Okay. And behavior change, as I conclude, is a byproduct of capability, opportunity, and motivation. Are people competent enough? Are people, do they have enough skills to know that they should be doing the right thing? Okay. Do they have the opportunity and the environment? Do we have those color-coded beans and all that? And are they motivated enough to make these circular decisions rather than the alternative? And that's why the entire ecosystem has to rally themselves behind. And it's why we're having this conversation, because we've realized over the last 4 town halls that we've had that it has to be a systems approach to addressing this issue. It's not just about NEMA. I would not want to be NEMA because of all the questions that are directed at them. But it has to be a systems approach where we're not just prescribing painkillers, but looking at what should be the vaccine. And the vaccine is a fundamental shift in our value system as a society, from the household level, that culture of responsibility, so that you're not just looking at the person who produced the diaper, but you're also looking at the person who is throwing it away from his vehicle. Yes, that fundamental shift in the value system has to start, and it has to start even at the household level.
Okay. Yeah. And I have to take a quick break here, but let me bring in, there's a question from Otieno here to NEMA, and it's fundamentally about Lake Victoria, which is the region's most critical ecosystem. And her concern is, what specific actions has NEMA taken to combat illegal dumping and water waste discharge into Lake Victoria?
Thank you for that. Trevor, the first thing that NEMA has done is, first of all, to come up with an inventory of the facilities that discharge into the lake. And you can see the lake is quite vast. And after we have come up with the inventory, then we follow up with the license regime. And one of the license regime that is very key is the one we are calling the effluent discharge license. Now, this effluent discharge license is whereby we go to the facility and ask them to undertake sampling of the effluent from that particular facility, and we get the results from a recognized laboratory, and in this case we have a few NEMA recognized laboratories like Water Resource Management Authority, Water Resource Management. We have the government chemists, and once we have gotten the analysis, we're able now to know whether that particular facility is undertaking the right treatment or not. Now, for these facilities, they are supposed to have the effluent treatment plant within their facilities. And we always recommend that once they have treated their effluent, it's supposed to be discharged into the Kiwasco treatment plant. This is the Kisumu Water Sanitation Company plant. So once now Kiwasco has done a treatment, that's the time they can discharge it into the lake. Now, we have found out that sometimes there are few facilities that do not meet the standards. And for those particular facilities, we have been giving them some orders, and we give them time to improve on those particular areas that they are supposed to do improvement. All right. And right now I can say we have quite a number of facilities that are doing well, but others we are still doing monitoring to find out how they are undertaking the activities. Okay. We also have the issue of the solid waste that is also dumped around the lake. And this one we have been working together in a collaborative manner with the county government through the public health office, the county government environment department. And the moment we notice some of these areas, we always work together as a team. I can say that the city environment department has also been doing very well, because we always give them alerts wherever we notice some of these areas. Now, the last part on that is that we also have farms that are catchments, or the catchments are within this particular lake. And some of these catchments do a lot of farming. And this farming land, we find that there's a lot of usage of nitrates fertilizers and phosphatic fertilizers. And once they are washed, especially during the rains, you find that most of these farms are not properly conserved. All these end up into the lake. And this one has a lot of effect again in this lake. They really pollute. So those are the areas that we have so far.
Was there you wanted to comment before I take a quick break?
Yes.
This is a shared resource.
Yeah, thanks. I would like to comment on that, because this is very important, especially, and it's an area of concern. And you must have seen articles speaking on the greening of Lake Victoria. And you see, people rely on this lake for their livelihoods. We rely on it for food. NEMA is tasked with regulation. But then we have several organizations that work along that lake. What needs to happen as a matter of urgency is an integrated approach in handling the issue of Lake Victoria. And as a county government, we are taking the lead, and we'd want all relevant actors so that we address this. I'm privileged here to have my committee in the county assembly, led by the chair. They are here seated. And this is something they are following up with industries. I know the industries employ our people, but they are dumping, they are discharging serious stuff in the rivers that are going into the lake. And before anything is done, it becomes each one of us responsibility to raise this issue. But at our level, we have to just sit down and handle this matter before it gets out of hand. Secondly, Trevor, if you allow me, you had mentioned, why does Kisumu really stand out? Especially in regard to the MRFs. Kisumu has two associations of small and medium-sized enterprises, which have been working very closely with the county, and more so the city. This is the Kisumu County Waste Actors Network, which has close to 1,000 members. They've been very instrumental in operationalization of some of these MRFs, working closely with the county. And the county constructed this and was able to come up with a framework to enable them do that. Secondly, amongst these waste work actors, apart from the key one that I've mentioned, there is what is called the Kiwapwa, which is now a welfare organization. This is really creating job opportunities for quite a number of people. So this coordinated approach has been very helpful as well.
All right, I'll take a quick break. When we come back, I'll come back to the audience. I know you have questions and views to give in this conversation. Let's take that quick break. We're back in just a short while.
Looking for a job in Dubai, Bahrain, or Qatar? Your dream career is just a step away. At Talent Bridge Careers, we specialize in connecting you with top employers. We offer full recruitment support from application, placement, and guidance on visa processing, relocation, and onboarding. Don't wait. Take that bold step towards your international career today. Call or WhatsApp us on 011-3454-075. That's 011-3454-075. Visit our website at www.talentbridge.co.ke or email us at
jobs@talent. Talk. We help your event, trainings, shows, and so more to the world through internet broadcasting in UHD. We provide from 1 to several camera setups and integrate graphics to live in your live streams. For more information, contact us through +2547 18454585 or email at soundcandytalk@gmail.com. Reach on us today. Sound Candy Talk Live News.
Pharisees couldn't stand him. When they found out they couldn't stop him. Pilate couldn't find any fault in him. Herod couldn't kill him. Death couldn't handle him. And the grave couldn't hold him. Yeah! That's my king. That's my king. Hallelujah, yes.
Watu wa Mungu, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Kipindi cha mahubiri kimerudi tena kwa kishindo kwenye Sound Candy Talk. Tunakufundisha, kukuelimisha na kukutia moyo kwenye Daily Bite. Mafundisho kamili ya Biblia kila siku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Sound Candy Talk.
You've dreamed about the perfect wedding, the dress, the vows, the happily ever after. But let's ask the most important question. Before you say I do, are you truly ready for the lifelong commitment that comes after the honeymoon period fades? Bernard Ngozzi's groundbreaking ebook, Are You Marriage Ready?, is the ultimate guide to building a successful, lasting marriage. This isn't just another relationship book, it's a heart-to-heart conversation that prepares you for one of life's biggest decisions, getting married. Are you choosing love or just infatuation? Are you building a marriage or just planning a wedding day?
Reading this book was a game changer. I realized I wasn't as ready as I thought, but now I'm on the right path.
Don't wait until it's too late. Invest in your future. Download Are You Marriage Ready today. Link in the description below. Your future spouse deserves the best. Are you ready?